On the night of June 5, 1950, a man stepped off the curb at Times Square wearing a Prince Albert coat, a wing collar, and mutton chop sideburns that hadn't been fashionable since Reconstruction. A taxi hit him before he reached the far sidewalk. When police searched the body, they found a bill from a hat shop on Fifth Avenue demanding payment to an address torn down in 1934, a boarding receipt for a horse and buggy that no stable in Manhattan had any record of, copper coins in mint condition that stopped being minted decades earlier, and a letter addressed to a Rudolph Fentz, postmarked June 1876. Nothing on him was a costume. Every object was original, aged exactly as it should be for its decade, and none of it belonged in 1950. Detectives ran the name and found a Rudolph Fentz who had walked out for an evening stroll near Fifth Avenue in 1876 and never came home, filed as a cold missing persons case that had sat untouched for 74 years. His description matched the body down to the sideburns. If the file was genuine, a man who vanished during Ulysses S. Grant's presidency had just been killed by a New York City taxicab without aging a single day in between. We post 3 of these every day, so if unsolved cases like this pull at you the way they pull at us, subscribing means you never miss the next one. Here's where it turns. Researchers who later went looking for the original report tried to track down the signature on it, a Captain Hubert V. Rim of the Missing Persons Bureau. The NYPD has no personnel record of a Captain Rim ever holding a badge. No retirement file, no obituary, no precinct blotter from June 1950 documenting a Times Square death matching any of these details, in any archive anyone has searched, public or private. So either the paperwork was pulled from city records entirely, or the man who signed it never existed to begin with. Comment below with which explanation you believe, because nobody investigating this case has ever been able to rule either one out. Think about what that leaves standing. The hat shop receipt tied to a demolished address. The 1876 coinage in circulating condition. A missing persons file matching a corpse dressed for a decade that had ended 74 years earlier. If someone fabricated Captain Rim, they fabricated him convincingly enough to survive 70 years of retelling without one archivist ever locating the underlying arrest record. If he was real, then somebody erased a city case file and every trace of the officer who wrote it, and got away with it for over half a century. No hat shop, no stable, no precinct, and no city clerk has ever produced the paperwork that would put this to rest one way or the other. The man in the Prince Albert coat is still an unclaimed body in a 1950 morgue log, tied to a name that vanished in 1876, verified by a captain who may never have drawn a paycheck. Hit the bell so this lands in your feed tomorrow, because the next file we open might be the one that finally explains this one.